Hello everyone, I hope you are all good and do some emotions attached with us while recording this video. Today my video all about our big continent, Asia. Asia is the largest of the world's continents. It can be divided into 5 major physical regions: mountain systems, plateaus, plains, steppes, and deserts, freshwater environments, and saltwater environments. Asia is the largest and most populous continent, home to the largest, Russia, and most populous, China, nations. Asia is the largest of the world's continents, covering approximately 30% of the Earth's land area. It is also the world's most populous continent, with roughly 60% of the total population. Asia makes up the eastern portion of the Eurasian supercontinent. Europe occupies the western portion. The border between the two continents is debated. However, most geographers define Asia's western border as an indirect line that follows the Ural Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Caspian and Black Seas. Asia is bordered by the Arctic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. In Asia, mountain systems are very interesting, and you know about the fact that longest and biggest mountain system exist in Asia. The Himalaya Mountains extend for about 2,500 kilometers. 1,550 miles, separating the Indian subcontinent from the rest of Asia. The Indian subcontinent, once connected to Africa, collided with the Eurasian continent about 50 million to 55 million years ago, forming the Himalayas. The Indian subcontinent is still crashing northward into Asia, and the Himalayas are growing about 5 centimeters, 2 inches, every year. The Himalayas cover more than 612,000 square kilometers, 236,000 square miles, passing through the northern states of India and making up most of the terrain of Nepal and Bhutan. The Himalayas are so vast that they are composed of 3 different mountain belts. The northernmost belt, known as the Great Himalayas, has the highest average elevation at 6,096 meters, 20,000 feet. The belt contains 9 of the highest peaks in the world, which all reach more than 7,925 meters, 26,000 feet, tall. This belt includes the highest mountain summit in the world, Mount Everest, which stands at 8,849 meters, 29,032 feet. The Tian Shan mountain system stretches for about 2,400 kilometers, 1,500 miles, straddling the border between Kyrgyzstan and China. The name Tian Shan means celestial mountains in Chinese. The 2 highest peaks in the Tian Shan are Victory Peak, which stands at 7,439 meters, 24,406 feet, and Kantangiri Peak, which stands at 6,995 meters, 22,949 feet. Tian Shan also has more than 10,100 square kilometers, 3,900 square miles, of glacier. The largest glacier is Engelchek Glacier, which is about 60 kilometers, 37 miles, long. The Ural Mountains run for approximately 2,500 kilometers, 1,550 miles, in an indirect north-south line from Russia to Kazakhstan. The Ural Mountains are some of the world's oldest, at 250 million to 300 million years old. Millions of years of erosion have lowered the mountains significantly, and today their average elevation is between 914 and 1,220 meters, 3,000 to 4,000 feet. The highest peak is Mount Narodnaya at 1,895 meters, 6,217 feet. Plateaus. Asia is home to many plateaus, areas of relatively level high ground. The Iranian plateau covers more than 3.6 million square kilometers, 1.4 million square miles, encompassing most of Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. The plateau is not uniformly flat, but contains some high mountains and low river basins. The highest mountain peak is Damavand, at 5,610 meters, 18,410 feet. The plateau also has 2 large deserts, the Dashti Kavir and Dashti Lut. The Deccan Plateau makes up most of the southern part of India. The plateau's average elevation is about 600 meters, 2,000 feet. It is bordered by three mountain ranges, the Satpura Range in the north, and the eastern and western Ghats on either side. The plateau and its main waterways, the Godavari and Krishna rivers, gently slope toward the eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. The Tibetan Plateau is usually considered the largest and highest area ever to exist in the history of Earth. Known as the rooftop of the world, the plateau covers an area about half the size of the contiguous United States and averages more than 5,000 meters, 16,400 feet, above sea level. The Tibetan Plateau is extremely important to the world's water cycle because of its tremendous number of glaciers. These glaciers contain the largest volume of ice outside the poles. The ice and snow from these glaciers feed Asia's largest rivers. Approximately 2 billion people depend on the rivers fed by the plateau's glacier. Plains, steppes, and deserts in Asia. The West Siberian Plain, located in central Russia, is considered one of the world's largest areas of continuous flatland. It extends from north to south about 2,400 kilometers, 1,500 miles, and from west to east about 1,900 kilometers, 1,200 miles. With more than 50% of its area at less than 100 meters, 330 feet, above sea level, the plain contains some of the world's largest swamps and floodplains. Central Asia is dominated by a steppe landscape, a large area of flat, unforested grassland. Mongolia can be divided into different steppe zones: the mountain forest steppe, the arid steppe, and the desert steppe. These zones transition from the country's mountainous region in the north to the Gobi Desert on the southern border with China. The Rub' al Khali Desert, considered the world's largest sand sea, covers an area larger than France across Saudi Arabia, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. It holds roughly half as much sand as Africa's Sahara Desert, even though it is 15 times smaller in size. The desert is known as the Empty Quarter because it is virtually inhospitable to humans except for Bedouin tribes that live on its edges. Freshwater in Asia. Lake Baikal, located in southern Russia, is the deepest lake in the world, reaching a depth of 1,620 meters, 5,315 feet. The lake contains 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater, making it the largest reservoir on Earth. It is also the world's oldest lake, at 25 million years old. The Yangtze is the longest river in Asia and the third longest in the world, behind the Amazon of South America and the Nile of Africa. Reaching 6,300 kilometers, 3,915 miles, in length, the Yangtze moves east from the glacier of the Tibetan Plateau to the river's mouth on the East China Sea. The Yangtze is considered the lifeblood of China. It drains 1/5 of the country's land area, is home to 1/3 of its population, and contributes greatly to China's economy. Saltwater in Asia continent. The Persian Gulf has an area of more than 234,000 square kilometers, 90,000 square miles. It borders Iran, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iraq. The Gulf is subject to high rates of evaporation, making it shallow and extremely salty. The seabed beneath the Persian Gulf contains an estimated 50% of the world's oil reserves. The countries that border the Gulf have engaged in a number of disputes over this rich resource. The Sea of Okhotsk covers 1.5 million square kilometers, 611,000 square miles, between the Russian mainland and the Kamchatka Peninsula. The sea is largely frozen between October and March. Large ice floes make winter navigation almost impossible.